Good afternoon, this Friday, April 17th. Give me a second while I welcome our Spanish-speaking neighbors. Buenas tardes, este viernes 17 de abril. Gracias por estar con nosotros en SOC a las 3. Si quieren acceso al programa de hoy en español, por favor marcan el número 426-436-6200 que aparece en la pantalla. Cuando contestan la llamada, por favor de compartir el clave o la contraseña que empieza con el número 6, que es 627-682. Thanks for giving me that time to welcome our Spanish speakers. Today, I'd really like to start the show sharing condolences. I don't want to do that specifically to families because I don't want to miss anyone and offend them, but we're well aware that in our community, we've had leaders, members, and on the South Side in particular, we've had some very recent loss, some of them due to the coronavirus. So our condolences to the family and friends of those members and to the wider community as well as we brace ourselves for this, the results of this pandemic, and hold each other in our thoughts and prayers. My name is Tammy Rivera. I'm the Executive Director of Southside Organizing Center and also the lead organizer. We are celebrating our 30th year serving you, our near Southside residents. Our district that we cover is from First Street to Miller Parkway and from the Valley to Oklahoma, and we are here to serve you. We haven't missed a day of providing services to our community here. You can contact us in all the ways you normally do by phone at 414-672-8090. And our phone has been ringing very heavily this week, and we're very grateful for that because it tells us that you have a place to go when you have questions, concerns, or needs, and that we're here for you. You can also reach us by emailing SOC, S-O-C, at socmilwaukee.org, or by communicating with us in any of our social media outlets, including Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Today, we have our regularly scheduled forum for you, changing with the current times to come to you virtually since we can't be with you in person like we normally are, knocking on your doors, seeing you at events, meeting you at big places where you congregate, like supermarkets and schools and churches, just to get the word out about what's happening in the community. So we're glad that you're here with us to receive that contact and understand what's happening in the community. We are running every day a campaign. We know you're hurting, many of you financially. We know our small businesses are hurting. And so as an incentive, you can enter our daily drawing for a $25 gift certificate to the businesses on the near South Side that have supported SOC or are doing, and the wider community who are doing extraordinary good deeds during this time. If you have a business that you're aware of has been just a champ neighbor and business during our Safer at Home order, please recommend them and we'll check them out and verify them and get them on our list of certificates that the winners can choose from if they're drawn. Today, we would like to share a couple of critical updates. We were scheduled to have State Representative Marisabel Cabrera with us. Today, she'll be with us on Monday, so please come back at 3 o'clock with SOC then. There are two things we want to share with you this coming week, in addition to having our special guests, that are great ways for us to continue and to develop our relationship with our neighbors. One is we're launching a new way to communicate with you all via Messenger on Facebook. We're doing this through the channel, the Messenger channel of Project Pulso. So what you'll see is a board member or a staff or a volunteer or a resident leader share with you messages, and it'll show their face and their name, but it will show Project Pulso. And the reason for that is because now we have a partnership there. They have, like, you have a TV channel, there are channels on Messenger, and they're allowing some of us to participate free of charge to us in those channels. So if you see a message, and the first message we're sending out are coronavirus or COVID 19 information resources and ways you can take action. If you see that, that's us, because we know that there are a lot of questions when you get contacted through social media about if it's a valid message. So that'll be us. You can verify, you can contact SOC and verify if a certain individual is participating, and we'll do our best to try to track that down and verify that with you. And you can always know who our board and SOC staff are. The other thing that we're excited to share with you is, I'm sure you have been struggling a little bit to get your garbage and recycling picked up. We're going to be sharing some flyers starting next week and for the following weeks of information about that, because Wednesday is Earth Day coming up, and we're going to launch a campaign: one family, one block, one bag of garbage equals one community, and unity in all capitals. We usually in the spring and the fall do cleanups in the community. We can't do that as a collective group anymore. But many of you individuals and families are taking your walks during the day just to get exercise and air, staying safe, and cooperating with the Safer at Home. If you're doing that, we would like to invite you to join the efforts that we're coordinating on the near south side. Again, our district is from First to Miller Park and from the Valley to Oklahoma Avenue. And you'll have an opportunity on Wednesday to know how to participate. But if you're interested in that, you'll get a whole kit to do that. No personal contact left at your doors. And Travis will be with us on Wednesday. I know that many of you are very fond of our staff, so you'll get to see them on Wednesday and hear more about those details. So right now, what we'd like to do is have, speaking of staff, we'd like to have Gabe, our civic engagement manager, on, who's going to give us the latest on the elections, voting, and the census. Hola, Gabe.
Hi, how you doing, Tammy?
Good.
So hi everyone, glad to be here with you all again on this lovely Friday. I hope that despite all of our days, for those of us that are in quarantine, despite those days kind of starting to all look similar, I hope that this weekend you can plan something fun for you and your family that'll get you out of the routine a little bit. Um, Hopefully, si Dios quiere, it'll stop snowing so you can maybe get out on your porch and get some sunlight. I know that's what I'm hoping for. But just something to get you out of your routine, but while still staying safe. So, unfortunately for you all, I don't have any major updates regarding the federal lawsuit that was filed by 14 Milwaukee area residents that I talked about earlier this week. And this lawsuit would essentially call for a partial revote of the April 7th election. And it would allow for all of those that were disenfranchised or unable to vote during this election, allow them the opportunity to still cast their vote. So please know that we are following this closely, and we will report anything that we learn about it as soon as we get it. Some other updates are that Alderwoman Coggs of the 6th District requested a City Inspector General investigation of the Milwaukee Election Commission's absentee ballot process. So, as many of you know, there were thousands of ballots, upwards of 9,000, I think was the last number I read, of people that never got their ballots mailed to them, or that got their ballots too late in order for their vote to be counted. And so city officials have asked for a US Postal Service investigation of the absentee ballots. But this investigation that Cox is asking for would examine the Election Commission's administration of the absentee ballot process under Wisconsin law. And so there's kind of these two different investigations going on right now. And again, we will keep you posted with those as we get information. Alderwoman-elect Marina, who will take over as Alderwoman of District 14, announced that she will introduce legislation which would boost voter safety and reduce disenfranchisement for the fall election. So again, we have been talking about the voter suppression of this last election, the disenfranchisement of voters in this last election. And so she wants to ensure that that doesn't happen again for the fall election. And so just to read a little bit of the language that she had in her announcement is that this legislation would create a safe vote program where all registered voters in the city of Milwaukee would receive an absentee ballot application along with a postage paid return envelope in time for them to participate in the fall 2020 general election. So just as it says in that language, it would allow for all registered voters to get an absentee ballot application so that they can safely vote in the fall election, because who knows where we're going to be at with this pandemic by the fall election. And clearly, we had a lot of disenfranchisement and suppression in this last election that we want to avoid. So those three major things that we are following: the federal lawsuits filed by the Milwaukee area residents, the investigation requested by Alderwoman Coggs, and the legislation that will be introduced to start this Safe Vote program that we will keep you all updated on as we get information. Some other civic updates with the census: the Census Bureau, just like many other institutions, suspended field data collection activities until more information on the pandemic was brought in. And so all of those data collection activities were suspended in March, and steps are being taken to resume those operations as quickly as possible following June 1st. And so with this change, the Census Bureau has also extended the period of time for both field data collection and self-response until October 31st. So when I say field data collection, this is referring to the representatives from the Census Bureau that go out to the houses that haven't responded by mail or online or by phone to collect the information that they need for the census. And so if you do that, you have basically everyone has until April 31st now to self-report, or the Census Bureau has until October 31st to go out and collect that information in the field. So moral of the story is just do it online, by phone, or by mail as soon as you can, but know that you do have until October 31st to do so. And starting after June 1st, it's not confirmed what day the field collection will start again, but sometime after June 1st, representatives from the US Census Bureau will be sent out to collect that information, depending on what is safe for each state. And with this extension, it means that the counts of the census will be delivered to the president by April 30th of 2021, and the redistricting data that comes from the census data will be delivered to each individual state by July 31st, 2021. So we're talking next year at this point. So again, just make sure you fill out the census. It is my2020census.gov, and it takes 10 minutes to do online. You can also do it by phone. It's really important for our community to be counted, especially in this era of continued disenfranchisement and underrepresentation in the voting process. We really need to make sure that we're at least getting counted in the census to be represented in that way. So those are my major updates for all of you. Thanks for being here with me. Please continue to comment all of your concerns and your questions, and we will continue to investigate the information that is meaningful to all of you. So thank you, Tammy.
Thank you, Gabe. Don't you really appreciate the updates that we get from the election and the census? You're getting all the information we know right as we know it. So thanks, Gabe. The next portion of the forum is an update for you on coronavirus information, resources, and ways you can take action. So we would like to, I'll say some hellos to our guests that are with us today, our neighbors, and then we're going to have our next staff person come and share with us those updates. Hola, Maggie Ramos, Patti Alvarez, Lillian Ramos, Maribel Maricano. Happy to have you again with us. I'm glad to see that we have some steady neighbors with us as well. Now we'd like to invite Taylor Herrada. Taylor plays two roles with us at SOC. She is our youth coordinator and she is our coronavirus coordinator. Thank you, Taylor, for keeping us up to date in those areas. And please do share what the highlight for the coronavirus resources today.
Thank you, Tammy, and thank you everyone for joining us on today's live community forum. As mentioned on yesterday's forum, Governor Evers has extended the Safer at Home order to May 26th. So what does that mean for you regarding coronavirus testing and visiting the doctor? According to the Wisconsin Department of Health Services, there are no medical treatments or vaccines that can slow the spread of the coronavirus. The only strategy we have right now to slow the spread is to limit physical contact between people. We know many of you are worried about your risk of the coronavirus and what that could mean for you and your family and your loved ones. Your concerns are completely reasonable, and we're here to help you understand your risk and get you the care that you need. According to the CDC, please only visit the doctor when you need to. You can contact your doctor's office by phone or email. Please call ahead of time before going to the doctor's office or the ER. If you do feel that you do need to see a doctor, the Wisconsin Department of Health Services has provided a free online health screening assessment. This is completely free, and you can access this by visiting wisconsinhealthconnect.com, and a licensed health practitioner will contact you. That link again is wisconsinhealthconnect.com, and you'll be able to find that in our comments, as well as getting this information on our coronavirus resource page at socmilwaukee.com. This is an online free health assessment that you can fill out. And again, a health practitioner will reach out to you and see what steps that they can help you with virtually so that you don't have to put yourself at risk by visiting a hospital or your doctor. Another update that we have for you, yesterday, Wisconsin representatives including Gwen Moore, sent a letter to FEMA questioning why Wisconsin has received none of the testing materials it requested last month, specifically testing kits and personal protective equipment. They stated that FEMA's failure to provide Wisconsin with adequate testing materials comes at the same time that President Trump has said expanding testing capacity is up to state governors. Wisconsin has gone through everything and all the proper steps that we need to take in order to meet the testing's state's needs. Our state's labs have been expanding, but unfortunately we cannot safely reopen the state without the necessary supplies that we are waiting for and that FEMA is withholding. Gwen Moore stated that the lack of crucial supplies needed to fight the coronavirus is straining hospitals and putting Wisconsinites and healthcare workers at risk. And Wisconsin needs more federal support during this pandemic. Which is why Gwen Moore, along with her colleagues, are putting this effort together to secure more testing supplies and personal protective equipment for healthcare workers. So we want to thank Gwen Moore and thank you to everyone, especially in the community, that are taking the time to donate masks and PPE protection to our frontline workers and our healthcare workers. We thank you for all the work that you're doing. We will continue to provide you a coronavirus update on our daily community forums. But for additional information that we're discussing during this forum, you can always visit our coronavirus resource page by visiting socmilwaukee.org. We have a variety of resources there, along with activities that you can do with your family and any resources that you need. Thank you. And Tammy.
Thank you, Taylor, for that update. We know the pressing issue continues to be the coronavirus, especially after the governor's extension, as Taylor shared, and as we announced as we got the news the other day. And so appreciative for my staff, our staff, staying on top of these issues for you, and then coming to you directly to share those. Right now, we'd like to share one of the program partnerships that we've had for quite a while. And I'm going to ask Andrea Rodriguez, our leadership coordinator, who also has this responsibility of this strategic partnership that we have with the Benedict Center, to come and talk about our program. I'll do a little intro from the history of our relationship with the Benedict Center, and then she can tell you about the really meaningful work that goes on in the community that I bet you don't hear quite enough about. We hear sort of the tragedies and the struggles, but we rarely hear like all the uplifting work that people are doing. In 2015, 2016, we developed a strategic partnership with the Benedict Center. The Benedict Center does alternative sentencing for women involved in the criminal justice system. They do an incredible amount of work and have decades and decades of history here in the community that was founded out of a faith movement, two faith movements, and so, or two faith groups. And they do, work readiness, school readiness, jail counseling, etc. But I met the executive director, Jean Gerasi, when she was the associate director at Voces de la Frontera, and she was moving to the Benedict Center. And back then I had the honor of doing her executive coaching. It was the first time she was going to be an executive director. And also I was a consultant full-time and was able to work with them and create a fund development strategy and some other things. So I know them very closely. When I came to SOC, it was a natural way for us to partner. And so back then, they were piloting a diversion program for women involved in street prostitution in District 3 Police Department across town. At that time, we had Captain Morales, now Chief Morales, as our district captain. And so he was very, very committed to getting that diversion program expanded to the South Side. So we agreed that we would partner the three of us in making this happen. Myself, SOC, Jean, the Benedict Center, Chief Morales, then Captain Morales, and District 2 Police. And so that started our journey with this program. What we did was SOC was contracted to be the coordinator of the citywide steering committee that involves some incredible partners. I already told you the three, and then the district attorney's office, the medical college, the Justice Point, and we set out to say, how can we expand this pilot program? Because at that time, the greatest number of arrests were actually taking place in District 2, and that was the arrest of solicitors, as well as the citation of women involved in that activity for the most part. And so we did a steering committee to figure out how to expand this pilot, and got some, the Benedict Center got some incredible partners that were headed by the School Sisters of St. Francis and several orders of nuns there, and the Lutheran, Ascension Lutheran National Foundation. I believe it's the Siebert Foundation it's called. And anyway, these ladies, these nuns, and the Sieber Foundation, they financed about up to $1 million to launch this pilot, which gave us a drop-in center on the south side for women to go to, an outreach team to reach out to these women and start building relationships of trust. And we were helpful also in getting the location, which I don't want to disclose right now, of the drop-in center just for sensitivity's sake. But women were able to go there and get their basic needs met, get referrals and advocacy and programming. And then from there, the program now has stabilized. It's a regular program. So we have a north side and a south side location of the Sisters program. We, as SOC, that first round, we're, in addition to being the steering committee coordinators, we got to survey Southside residents, ask them how they felt about it, do a whole round of education, and involve resident associations and members in helping with the solutions. And so that took place, and it was an entire study of public health. The whole purpose then was to keep women safe and help provide the services they needed to leave that lifestyle when they were ready. And what was amazing, and then I'll hand it over to Andrea about it, is um, it was so moving to work with the women involved in that issue. I had the honor and privilege of doing a couple of sessions, including a power analysis session with them, and to just understand that their stories are almost identical to many of ours. It's just the manner in which they found to survive was a different choice than ours. Not better, not worse. It's different, and it leads to a trap that many of us, because of the option we chose, don't trap us, and that is often substance abuse. And we know we have a wide problem in the community outside of this activity. And once you have a substance abuse problem, well, that's a very difficult challenge. So we're glad we could be a part of that first round. We're so grateful to all the partners and to the women for their courage and continuing in the struggle. And now we're in phase two, and I'm going to let Andrea talk because she came in on phase two on what we're doing now in partnership with the Benedict Center and a whole group of county coalition, including the county government.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Tammy. I appreciate you giving that background on the Sisters Diversion Program. I am Andrea Rodriguez. I am the leadership coordinator of Southside Organizing Center, and one of my amazing jobs that I get to do is I get to teach residents on the South Side grassroots organizing via SOC's program for GOLD, which is Grassroots Organizing Leadership Development. In addition to teaching residents and helping coordinate that program on behalf of SOC, I also have the privilege of being the point person for the diversion program that Tammy just described. Right now we have a lot of residents that are following Governor Evers' stay-at-home order, and we do have essential workers out and about. And while we're going to our grocery shopping or we're doing our basic needs right now based on emergencies, you may see other residents that are out. And unfortunately, while I personally and many of us want every resident home safe, the fact remains that not every resident in the city of Milwaukee, especially our most vulnerable residents, including those dealing with homelessness or possibly part of the sex trade, which is helping with the diversion program, they might not have safe homes to go to. So you might see them out, you might see, some behavior that you might not understand. There might be some petty crime uptakes, just because right now the services that we usually offer are not as easy when we're in a pandemic, but still people need to eat. People need to make sure their needs are met, even if they are addiction needs. And it's really important that we as residents are still supporting the Benedict Sisters diversion program. Again, I'm going to say these are vulnerable residents, and this is not a situation that we can police our way out of. And I'm very lucky that the leaders of the Sisters program all the partners, especially the medical college and everyone involved, the police department, SOC. I'm glad they realize and they're here advocating for the women that may be involved in sex trade, and they're realizing that this is not always a choice. This might be, a practice that is generations deep in a family. A lot of these women are dealing with victimization. They're more often going to be victims of homicide, sex trafficking, physical assault, sexual assault, including rape. And when we add in mental illness, poverty, homelessness, and also drug addiction, just leaving this life, when this might be your day to day and you may condition to feel like your body is not your own, it can be very difficult for some of these vulnerable residents. So again, I am the point person and I am in charge of doing a Southside communication, I'm sorry, not communication, just giving some outreach and making sure that our residents are understanding how they can help our women, how they can help limit some of these crimes, what they can do if they're seeing things like needles and other things like that from addiction that it may also be related to sex trafficking. And it's part of my job to do that civic engagement plan for the Southside with the Benedict Center. And I'm very lucky because, while we are all limited and we're in our homes right now, we do have a lot of people out there that, they have no choice but to be out there in order to get food or whatever it is they're trying to get. And they might be forced out there to, sell their bodies. And it is children, it is men, it is a variety of people. And I know, right now we might get, let's say a teenager who is reported missing, they might be a victim of sex trade. I mean, we don't always know what's on the surface. We also might have an independent woman who is older, part of the sex trade. You can't just tell based on value, but one of the most incredible things about the diversion program is it will give an option for these women that, again, are probably victimized and forced to be there, as opposed to just paying a ticket and having multiple tickets and then having other housing issues because of it. They are instead able to go into a 6 months of program of really intense therapy and support through the diversion program, which I think is incredible. And obviously we don't have all the resources to make sure we're reaching out to everyone, but through education of residents, which we're doing on the South Side, making sure they understand how to see the hidden signals of sex trafficking, making sure that we're not jumping to conclusion if someone is going into your car and rifling for change. These are not, this might be someone trying to really just eat and really just get through a day to day, and they might be forced to do some of these practices. So to really know what to look out for with human trafficking, also to know that you can call non-emergency, which is 933-4444 if you think you see signs of human trafficking. There is also an incredible app, the Milwaukee app that we have, that if you see litter, like especially needles and things that we should not be touching right now in a pandemic, but if you do see them and an increase of them, you can take a photo, you can report it, and making sure that someone is disposing of that properly. We do have a lot of options, and I am always going to reiterate the fact that these are vulnerable residents, and we cannot police our way out of this. We need to make sure that we are, staying vigilant. We are watching out for each other. We're making consistent reporting, and we're not judging anyone before we know their full story. I'm very thankful to be the point person for SOC and in order to give our residents the education they need. Right now, we also, with our gold residents, we did a feedback session finding out some of the things that they wanted to know and how they could help. And it was incredible to me. A lot of them, they want to know these women's stories. They want to know how they can help. They want to know, are we able to donate to some of these shelters? And what a lot of people might not realize with the housing shortage, even though we might have officers that do a sweep of, let's say, a house, and they have, they find many victims of sex trafficking, there's only 2 beds in the whole city for these women. So, in addition to the housing shortage, these women might have children in schools that are, being impacted. This is not just a cut and dry situation. So making sure that we as Southside residents are saying these are our neighbors, these are our fellow people, we need to make sure that we're watching out for them, I think is something that is extremely valuable with the diversion program. And I look forward, with COVID-19 or not, I look forward to continue making sure that Southside Organizing Center is giving information to everyone, so then we can, as a collective, make better decisions so we can watch out for each other.
Thank you, Andrea. Thanks for watching out on this program. And we'll have more of our community engagement plan and strategies rolling out to help you understand the issue and how you can connect and help solve that. What we'd like to do now is share with you our campaign, our daily drawing. And so with us is Marisol Diaz, our communications manager.
Hi, I'm Marisol, Communications and Digital Manager here at SAC. Thanks for tuning in to our live community forum. During our live forums, we have a daily $25 gift certificate drawing to a local restaurant or small business. Ways to enter are: share this live video, like this video, leave a comment or question, suggest a topic for us to discuss, or fill out the survey located in the comments section. As a bonus entry, if you have any voting or census pictures, or take a screenshot of you visiting our website, you can enter that way as well. Thanks for tuning in and stay safe. Now let's find out who's won yesterday's raffle.
Gracias, Marisol. The winner of yesterday's drawing is Mari Cano. Mari, contact SOC. Our email is soc@socmilwaukee.org to redeem your certificate. This concludes our forum for today. I want to remind you that State Representative Marisabel Cabrera is going to be with us on Monday to respond to the why the elections were held despite the coronavirus and despite the governor's safer at home order. And we're going to continue on that topic till we get satisfying answers of those questions and a built strategy with you all on how to proceed to respond to that, as well as prepare for a just election in the fall. We're gonna thank our donor partners and ask you to return and hope that you will be safe until we see each other again. Gracias.